Hey guys, it's Giovanni, and in this video, I'm really excited to teach you the art of storytelling. In the following clip that you're about to see, you'll find little insights and little pieces, hacks, and actual frameworks of how to tell a great story. And these stories are going to help you create attraction and connection. Because this is a coaching call, it'll feel like I'm talking to you one-on-one. I've protected my clients' confidentiality, so what you'll see is pieces of me delivering high-value information on storytelling. If you're really having trouble getting into real deep conversations, this video is really going to help you tremendously. You may even want to take some notes because I actually go through some of the steps and the methodologies that I use to create a great story. All right, enjoy. Here's the secret. The more you share, the more personal it gets, the more universal it gets. It's kind of ironic, right? Because you think like no one else has this experience, but everyone's had a situation where they had a tough time. Everyone can relate to discovering something that they were more passionate about than what they're doing. Those are universal storylines. Like one of the keys to sharing vulnerable stories, people like happy endings. So if you have a sad story, try to transform it into a happy ending. And if you can't do that, at least be insightful about it. It's like, here's what I learned. This is a tough experience, but here's what I learned from it. And then when you say it like that, you become an interesting person because you're introspective of that and people can relate that way. What are some of the experiences that, define who you are today? Try to think of the good and the bad. What were some decisions that you made that were pivotal? How did that decision come about? What were you thinking about? And that starts to paint a picture of your worldview or how you think about the world and how you think about your future. And those storylines, we can take those and make them attraction triggers in dating so that they become like very fun to listen to. Is the story interesting in a way that demonstrates sexual marketplace value, right? Kind of like wordsmith in a way where it becomes attractive. So that's the next step for that story. When I started, I just started writing down what my heart was thinking. And not my mind, my heart. I would write down the events and then I would write down how I felt about it. Because as Asians, a lot of times we're very logical and analytical, right? So we'll write like, here's what happened. I went to school in second grade. Like the way you told me, like I went to third grade, I went here, fourth grade, I went here. Those are the events that happen. Then I look at that and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this heart? Well, in second grade, I felt really good because I had a lot of friends. In third grade, I didn't feel so good because my dad moved to a different country. So I wrote the emotions behind it. So that's how I did it. Yeah, writing the emotions behind it. And then if you really want to get into it, you can actually apply copywriting skills to your stories. So in copywriting, it's to get someone's attention, right? You need a hook. In today's crazy world, if you don't take control of your dating life, somebody else will, right? Somebody else will or no one else will, and you'll be alone. So that's like, I can relate to that. Giovanni, where are you from? I'm like, well, short answer and a long answer. Which one do you want? And that's like the setup for a hook. And then they were like, I want the long answer. I'm like, well, long answer is my dad was a diplomat. I grew up everywhere, but now I'm here with you. So that's like my banter line. So you figure out a hook and then you figure out what we call a transition. So a transition is like once you have their attention, then you want to transition into something where they feel like interest, right? Interest and desire. And interest and desire in dating are generated through attraction and connection triggers. Do they feel attracted to you in the way you speak? And then do they feel connected to you in some way emotionally? When people feel enough attraction and connection, then they start taking action. They start giving you the number. They start chasing you. So that's like the framework. Attention, interest, desire, action. Okay. The attention is the hook. The interest and desire are attraction and connection triggers. The action is the escalation, the moving forward of the dating process. So those are the 4 steps. Your stories in the beginning now, where you are now, should focus on the hook, the attention, and then generating interest. And then I think for you, once you do that, then generating like attractive storylines. Because right now you're still struggling with like interesting storylines. That's okay. You're starting out. Then you want to make it attractive. So that's the next step. I was a virgin until I was 23. And I remember feeling extremely angry at everyone but myself. I was angry at the world. I was angry at my parents for not teaching me how to talk to girls, even though they just paid for my college tuition. I was angry at women for rejecting me why don't they like me? I'm so cool. Or like, I just graduated from college. I got a good job. What's going on? I blamed everybody but myself. And guess what? When you're like that, even though those feelings are real, because, I really felt that, I got no results. And I only started getting results when I shifted my mindset to one of gratitude for things. Because it's like, part of it is like the anger from not being able to get what you want. And then the other part is just gratitude. That was a shift for me. And then it became like, wait a minute. Okay, the past hasn't been so great, but I'm still young and all this knowledge is there. And I just got really, really excited at the fact that even now there's even more knowledge. When I started, I had to look up online. There were like, I spent hours online trying to find these forums. Now there's information out there where you can learn this stuff. Like every step of the way, there's like everything you can learn, And all it takes is, the only input from you is effort, because everything has been laid out for you already over the past 20 years in terms of the dating process. So once that happened for me, I just went all in, man. I'm like, I went in, I found other people that was trying to improve their dating lives. We went out together. Every step, I'm just like grateful. I'm like, all right. Like I thought of it as like, no longer like the world is taking from me. It was more like, I'm new and I'm building. It's like a bonus, In an RPG game, it'd be like just bonus stacks, So for me, once that I made that mindset shift, my results didn't come right away, but I felt better about it. And then eventually the results came, because I was no longer like spending my energy thinking about the things I didn't have. Make sense? We're saying that they're not ambitious, which I think might be true, but I also think that maybe one of the reasons is just you don't feel that close to them, because you're not able to share what you're really thinking. And so therefore they can't share that with you either. Yeah, this is a bigger barrier for you, which is like just learning to talk about yourself in a way where you don't feel judged and you don't feel like you have to hide something, right? So, I thought about, I should be a therapist. A lot of my calls, you see how like our training is holistic, right? It's not just like get the girl, do these things. Like that's not how I don't think that's effective. And then what are some experiences that shaped me? Like for example, I was bullied, and that experience shaped me for the next 20 years. That was like trauma replaying itself. And then there's stories where, you don't always want to talk about your past and all your trauma and how you could overcome it, because that could be very taxing. Like that's a very deep conversation. Another type of conversation is just like, what's going on with your life now and what's your future like? So what we call future pacing, right? So for example, like my story would be, I'm going to be moving to Vegas. I'm going to be setting up my own studio where I can shoot. And I have all these plans, right? So just talking about your plans in a cool way and having that discussion with your friend. So when I was on UCLA campus, I'm, in my 30s, I still talk to girls just as more of a demonstration for my clients, because sometimes they come out and they're like, can you show me how to do it? And some of them are college students. I usually have a reason. And I learned, again, I pay respect to the location. So I learned about UCLA. I learned about their alumni program. I learned about their career center. I learned about their master's program. So a very common thing I say when I'm on campus is, I'm checking out to see if like the master's program might be cool. Like, have you heard anything about it? I'm actually on campus visiting a friend, which is true. My friend lives right off campus. I'm like, I'm here just waiting for my friend. I'm visiting him. But in the meantime, I wanted to make some new friends. I am trying to meet girls, or I'm trying to demonstrate how to meet girls, but the answer is still true, but it's now more comfortable and socially accepted within the dating context for her. You see how I'm always framing things that are true, but I'm framing in a way that's like really comfortable for the other person, right? It's not like, here's the truth, there you go. Yeah, I like hentai games, and I want to have a harem someday. All right, good luck, see you later. Like, no, because even if they like that, like 1 in 100, like, yeah, I like that too. But for most people, it's like, well, a little bit too much, right? So I try to, what we call the concept of gradual exposure, which is like, I'm telling you truths about myself in different layers, kind of like an onion. As I get to know you more, I'll peel back more layers. But everything I'm telling you is truthful. It's just like at different degrees as to what the context is for that. Layer 1 is like, hey, how are you? I'm pretty good, thanks. Nice day today. Layer 2 is, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good today. I'm walking my dog, and my parents are out of the house, so I'm taking care of the dog today. Layer 3 is, I'm taking care of the dog. I love this dog, but it's not my dog, so I don't feel that attached to it. But I'm responsible, so I take care of it. So layer
Okay.
one is just how are you? Layer two is why am I doing something? And then layer three is the emotion of why you do something. You got all of them. You got all of them. Okay. When you say it, I can still see you're struggling a little bit. So this is good. That means that with practice, you're gonna get to a point where you don't struggle anymore. Because you got the words down. You got everything right. Now you just have to get it right where it's smoother so you don't struggle. So the struggle is just a matter of practice. Yeah, I talk to myself too. I create like this sounds crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy to some people. I don't think so. I think we all have different personality is in us. So I sometimes create personalities. I create a personality to talk to me. So my personality, let's say, is named I don't know, Debbie or Vince, and Vince will talk to me like, so why should I date you? Or what? Why did you come out on this date today? And I'll be like, what's a good answer? And then I'll just role play, back and forth. Now, of course, if you can find a wing, there are a lot of people in Seattle. You can find a wing who like is into self development, and you can practice together. But if you don't have that now, a lot of times I just talk to myself and I practice. Right. So when you rewatch this, I think everything we covered today, when you rewatch it, a lot of things will start sinking in, and you can practice. So that's good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that I'm able to help you. I'm so thankful. It's my pleasure. Um, One of the things that if you continue training with me, you'll learn is that the authentic attraction cycle is not about like step one, two, three. It's about like discovering who you are and then taking that and then applying it to the dating cycle so you get results, right? So the work we're doing now is really like discovering like how you bring out your true self and then being able to effectively communicate that in a dating situation, right? So because we're doing that, you're going to feel more like you hit the nail on the head and this is my struggle. And then once you overcome the struggle, you're like, oh, I can take these things I learned and I can apply it to dating. So then it's like it feels more organic because it's like being myself, but it's not just like be yourself and no one's helping you. It's like be yourself, but I'm just learning how to like express myself in a way that actually gets results. And so from that perspective, it's more holistic. So that's how I train my clients. That's why I'm putting my work out there so people can learn this stuff. So I'm glad that
Nice.
you got value from it. Even though in the beginnings it feels slow, it's actually faster because once you know who you are and you know how to say it, the results come quickly, right? So we're taking a
Mhm.
little more time to go deeper, but once you have that, then it translates automatically, not just to dating, but to other things too. So I think this is more important for you, for most
Awesome.
people.